What's up? It's me back again, Analog Attack, and I'm chuffed to welcome back Mr. Chris Corry. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing all right. How are you today?
I'm pretty good. I'm wearing my, don't know if you can see it, my Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats
Mm.
Japanese tour T-shirt.
I
The
took a
last
true
show, the
approach.
last show I ever saw this year. Oh, trouble.
Oh wow, that's the
Yeah, yeah,
last show
this is
you
the
saw.
last gig I saw this year. It's March 15th. They're on their way back from their world tour, whatever. Japan was the last stop. Osaka was the last gig, and then they went back to England. That was the last gig at that hall. So that's it. So yeah,
Wild stuff, man.
March 15th. Yeah, yeah.
Jesus
Okay, man.
Christ.
So
What are we
what's
here
the
for?
theme of the day, man?
Epicus Doomicus YouTube videoist.
Lovely stuff.
Sorry, man.
Yeah,
Ah,
I'm really happy to do this episode. It's the season for it, right? It's the
yeah,
season.
it is. It's
Season.
October 23rd today.
Yeah, yeah. And so a little bit of a definite. So when you first suggested this to me, I kind of knew what you were talking about. You just said let's do doom metal, and I kind of knew the stuff that you meant without really having to ask you. I mean, so there's no funeral doom, probably
Yep,
no stoner, no death doom, I guess. Just
that's another thing.
that's another thing, right? So just doom, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, straight doom.
and I mean, you know what? So I broke it out. I've
Hmm.
got little subcategories up here that I'll
No one else
introduce to
has.
you through the evening.
Okay.
Um, so there's a little bit of flexibility,
Hmm.
but you know, to me, obviously, Black Sabbath, is responsible for the doom metal genre.
Yeah.
But I think they're sort of apart from it. Because they're sort of like the progenitors of that.
Right.
So for me, it almost has to start in the '80s.
I think so too.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, there's that Decibel magazine, a respected publication. They put three or four Black Sabbath albums in the top 10 of, top 10 doom metal albums of all time, you know.
they're my favorite band ever, but like, well, we we would just be naming off Black Sabbath albums all night.
Exactly.
So
And they've got like Down in there too, Salor Baltimore's in there, I Hate God's in there, Blue Cheers in there, so
it's more of a survey of doom and doom adjacent
yes.
artists, I
Yeah,
think.
absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So I guess you've got a lovely pile of records to show for us.
Oh man, I got tons.
Today. So let's kick
Let's
off
just
with your first pick, man. What do you got?
let's just talk about Candlemass
Go
right
ahead, man.
away.
Go ahead.
I mean, because I feel like I'm. You know what? This isn't Epicus Doomicus isn't the first doom metal album, but
Mm.
the title itself, I feel like they really became the standard bearer of the
Yeah.
time and really did a lot to like push that into the like metal consciousness. And it's such a bizarre album. Like, I mean, first of all, the back cover,
I
not
forgot about
not
the
not
back.
very.
Yeah.
Um, and it's on Black Dragon, which kind of had like a weird mix of artists. I think they did.
It's
Well,
French
this has
label,
a
right? French.
yeah, and they did something for Manila Road. I think they did a bunch of like Chastain
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So it's funny because even though it's called so it is I would call this epic doom,
Mm.
uh, but it's almost like it's like more polished than I think of most doom, and same with the wonderful follow up Nightfall, which is my favorite one.
Mine too, actually. Yeah.
Because this is when they get Messiah on
Yeah.
vocals, and the riffs are just like nonstop, like one after the other, in terms of memorable stuff. Um, I don't know. To me, like this is just sort of like it really set the pace for.
Mm.
I find that most like especially European doom bands take like the most from Epicus, Doomicus,
Right.
Metallicus. Do you remember hearing that back when it was like recent? Because they did shows with Sacrilege, I think.
Oh man, you know what we're talking? Yeah, I don't think I was even. aware of them too much, like right back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I probably would have gotten. You know what? I'm going to get to that a little bit. I can think
Okay,
I
okay.
can tie that in with my second choice. I think I can tie it in with a little story there. Mm,
I like that.
mm,
And they pretty much always kept it the same. They did a couple records that are a little more just, I guess you would call epic power metal, but
right.
for the most part, they pretty much stuck to the heavy
Mm,
and slow tempos. And the record they did last year, they brought back the vocalist from the Epicus Doomicus, and it has a Tony Iommi guest solo on it.
does
And
yeah
it's pretty good.
yeah.
Like I don't keep up with them. They've had a bunch of different singers and different configurations, and I kind of respect, but I don't buy every record. But I went out and bought that one.
I've got the most recent one I've got is the Door to Doom.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
one.
that's the one, right? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right.
Most
So
recent.
we both agree we like them.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. All right, man. As usual, I'm going to start off in England. I've got two picks from England. I'm going to go with first one, Rise Above Records, 1995. It was only CD, but they reissued it recently. Talking about this band, Mourn.
That's
Cover's a little
right.
bit dark. It's got these
It
like
is.
hooded. It is, yeah. It's really dark. And if you,
It's a little better.
right, you've got these hooded figures, like strolling into the woods and everything. And it's funny because you know what? My first pick, I was going to go with that band Acrimony, the Welsh
Hmm.
band. But after I was like, it's kind of too stonerish for this episode, so I kind of set them aside. And then when I opened up this record, I saw that this band like just gigged with Acrimony like all the time. So it's like, look at this one. It's really small, but Cathedral, Anathema, Mourn, Acrimony, Mourn, Acrimony with like big Doom written at the top on the poster.
What town were they from?
So this is like 1995.
Hmm.
This and it's Electric Wizard too, Mourn and Electric
Makes
Wizard.
sense.
Uh, Caroline Wilson on vocals. She became a pop singer. This is the only thing she
Really?
did. Yeah, not sure who with. Maybe like a solo career. Didn't really go anywhere. She's got like a really deep voice, almost like that classic like English folk singer kind of
Okay.
voice. Very cool. I think they're really out of place and out of time. I don't think many people are doing this. It's really straightforward doom. Um, but yeah, I like the thank. I mean, the thanks list on this record kind of says it all. Think about this is 1995, right? So it's like
Okay.
thank thanks to Sabbath, Zeppelin, Purple, Solitude, The Dark, Budgie, Lucifer's Friend, The Obsessed, St. Vitus, Trouble, Cathedral, COC, Iron Man, Pentagram, Solstice, Revelation, Yes, Motorhead, Manowar, Soundgarden, Witchfinder General. So these guys had pretty amazing taste, right? So, but only on CD back in the day. Lee put out on vinyl a couple of years ago, and it's got the demo at the end. And I think a couple of guys went onto that band Hangnail, who
Okay.
also recorded for Rise Above, a little bit different, but and they're on Dark Passages too. That compilation, the Doom
Oh,
compilation.
I've got that.
They're on Dark Passages 2.
Oh, Dark Passages 2.
2, which
2.
I do not have. Yeah, but
Okay.
I think
I
this is
only have
kind of
Dark Passages 1.
right. Yeah, I think this is kind of a unique band for the time. I don't think many people are doing this like straight ahead, and female fronted. That's a big thing now. Like with Blood Ceremony and tons of other bands. But very cool, very cool record. Yeah,
Excellent.
one. Yeah, they broke up. They did one record. That's it, and a demo. That's it.
That seems like more par for the course at the time.
Yeah.
I have the Dark Passages 1 here with the Doom Metal sticker.
Oh man, I think I used to have that, but it's just like I wasn't ready for it. Yeah,
There it is.
yeah.
This is cool. And they licensed some tracks from other labels because you got like St. Vitus on here, Count Raven. But it's like a good sort of statement of purpose.
Mm.
And it kind of, so one of the subcategories that I sort of came up with in my mind was, I guess I would call it like dark, depressive, early 90s Doom.
All right.
And in particular, I'm thinking about like the Revelation first record on Rise Above. the first Penance record.
Oh man, you're killing me over here.
Dude, great stuff. And obviously, of course, Cathedral.
Yeah, the gods.
And it's sort of that first phase of Cathedral where it's like really slow and just bizarre. And I feel like Soul Sacrifice is sort of like the last part of that, because they've got a song like Autumn Twilight where it's starting to, the rock influence is starting to creep in. But I've got the In Memoriam, the 12-inch of their demo, which is just like absolute. I mean, it's only 4 songs, but just like it's crushing, man, every time. And you've got Gaz on the back wearing the Headless Cross shirt. I don't know if that's even visible.
I saw
but,
it.
Best of all, I think, has to be Forest of Equilibrium for this sort of sub niche of doom. You got the boys there in the shadows. This album, I mean, I've never heard anything else like this to this day. You know, all right, so there's a bunch of dark and depressive doom metal bands from this time, and, you know, those are a few of them. And they're all kind of angular and a little bit weird, a little bit progressive, and the vocals are always a little bit strange. But I don't know if any are stranger than Lee Dorian at that time.
A lot of people don't like his vocals. I think he's just like the best, man. It's like,
I mean, look at this like weird record cover. Like, what should the vocals be? They should be how they are. And just when you hear like the songs like with like the weird like flute sections and acoustic sections, and then they just go into that like slow like bulldozing crawl. I mean,
I feel like the world wasn't really ready for them, you know.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, obviously Lee, you know, coming from Napalm Death and everything, it was, you know, certainly a shock to me as a young lad, you know.
Yeah, as we talked on another episode, you were very distressed by what you heard.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell's going on here, you know? But of course, years later, I appreciate the absolute genius of what they were doing, you know.
They did so much great stuff, and that whole like sort of era of like weird doom metal, you know, it's like it's a little forgotten. I don't know. You don't really hear a lot of people talking about Penance or Revelation. But it's just so original sounding, and it's just like you can't find records that sound like that.
No.
Besides those, you know, there's a few more, but it's I don't know. I for me, like the best doom bands are the strangest and the most unique, which I think will play out over the course of this episode.
Okay, looking forward to it, man. All right, I'm going to stay in England, Yorkshire, West Yorkshire, the town of Dewsbury. Ring any bells?
Yeah, been a million times.
Of course you have, man. I mean, if you're a fan of Peaceful Records, you'll know that that's the home of Peaceful Records, West Yorkshire, and a little band that I love who come from that area. Solstice. Now, the punk pedigree on this record is kind of cool. You've got like Rich Walker, or Rich Militia, as we know him, from Sore Throat. The drummer is Rick Budby, who was in Civilized Society. And it's all like really West Yorkshire. So the guy that produced it produced a whole bunch of like My Dying Bride records as well. They're from the same area. But this record, I think, kind of fits in with that Revelation Penance thing. It's very unique. The singer's got this, like, he rolls his R's, like with this, he's got this real like folk singer kind of voice, which people either love or hate. I love it. It's kind of dark, it's pagan. There's a lot of like traditional heavy metal in there too, and maybe even a little of new wave of British heavy metal. They cover Stormchild by Trespass on the... Oh yeah, man. Yeah. And The Prophecy by Iron Maiden. It's like bonus tracks on this reissue, but yeah, they definitely got a bit of new wave of British heavy metal. And of course, Rich Militia, he was doing the Miskatonic Foundation. That was his label, right? And
cool label.
He put out a band that you're probably going to talk about later.
And I have a funny little, like, it's not a big story, but I have a funny Rich Militia story.
I do too, actually. Is she going to tell yours?
I bet you have more than one.
I have one. Should I tell it? Yeah, actually, yeah, let's tell it. So I was the band Doom, who are not a Doom band. You know, they're a hardcore punk band. They are playing in Bristol, and this pint glass kind of flies through the air, and I think it hit the singer in the square on the forehead, and he kind of like got angry, and it was like Rich Militia kind of puts his hand up and says like, "Oh, sorry, it was me." That's that's like that's my story. Yeah,
Didn't he scab in Doom at one point?
yeah, he did.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And he was, he was in Pagan Altar at one point also.
Yeah, but I love this record. It's kind of folky. It's dark. This was Stephen O'Malley. For some reason, this is his design. I don't know how that happened. Yeah,
What year is that one from?
Oh, it's like it's early 2000s.
Yeah, that's like the best Solstice era.
This is their best record by far. Yeah, and it's got that. Going back to that Candlemass thing, I was trading tapes with Johnny. He was the guy who originally founded Peaceville, and he's from the same town, Dewsbury. So he was sending me a lot of doom metal stuff too on tape.
Imagine so, yeah.
Yeah. So this is kind of masterpiece in my opinion. And I like this kind of punk pedigree, and also like going back to Yorkshire. I don't know if you know like the horror theme, like the Moors Murderers. Myra Hindley, Ian Brady. That's all from this region. And there's one track where you've got the wind. There's the wind, but it's like really like loud and like distorted, like the wind. And I'm pretty certain they recorded that on the Yorkshire Moors. I'm certain.
That seems like something they would do,
right? I mean, it's amazing. It's like this just really like howling wind. It's really close to the speakers and really distorted like wind. It's real, it's definitely from the Yorkshire Moors, I would say. If anyone knows, let me know in the comments. Like where was the wind recorded?
Solstice in so long. You know what? I got to get that record again.
Honestly, it's a classic. It's and he rolls his R's, like it's like the folk singer. It's crazy. Yeah, beautiful record. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll keep it in England then.
Okay.
And I'm gonna so another sub guy, but I believe I've mentioned this to you before, but what I like to call peasant metal.
Oh, yeah.
Now this might be doom metal adjacent. I don't know. It's on the cusp because all these records were recorded in the early 80s, but I've got a couple 45s here. This is the Requiem 45, which gets past it's considered new wave of British heavy metal, but it is pretty doomy, very peasant-like. And what I mean by peasant-like is...
Say, can you tell us what?
Yeah, I think I should... look, when I say peasant metal, I feel like, you hear the band, and they must be British. They must sound like they're from a small village. They must sound like they could either... Yeah, no, right? This is sort of the modern successor to the peasant metal.
Okay.
And the only reason that I would say put that as like an asterisk there is because it needs to sound rustic and kind of very simple production of modest means, you might say, and it sounds like the guys in the bands that I considered in this sort of micro niche. They could be your local blacksmith or the beer brewer or they could be the villagers in a Hammer horror movie. So the Requiem 45 is one that I think of when I think of that. Another one is this band Tellarian. This band had 2 comp tracks, and in 2006 the 2 comp tracks got put onto this 45.
British, American?
Is British. They're from, oh God. Dude, I don't know. I'm not even going to pretend like
Shires.
Yeah. I think they just are from the Moors.
I feel like Morn mentioned them on that thanks list.
So the way that I heard about this band was Rich Militia mentioned it in an interview as an influence. And I wrote to him over email because apparently they had recorded more stuff, but the tapes were damaged, and I was like, well, somebody's got to have a cassette, even if it sounds bad, because I love these 2 songs. It sounds like a basement band that loved Black Sabbath.
Wow.
And I wrote to him and I said, hey, can you tell me anything about Tellarian? And he was just like, why don't you ask the label? Like, just completely dismissive. It was cool. Um,
uh,
and then of course, you know, Witchfinder General. There's the
oh,
first
beautiful.
45 on heavy metal, and there's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
music 45.
That's
And
hard to
I've
find
got
on the picture sleeve. Is it? It's kind of tough to find.
it music. I've seen the picture sleeve kind of often, but the first one, I mean,
Ah,
I'm sad to say, mine is sleeveless, but it
yeah,
was like
yeah.
$20. So, there
Nice,
it is, Burning a Sinner.
beautiful. Love
And
that.
I've got just a ridiculous parade. This is
Oh, go on then.
Friends of Hell.
Mm.
There's another Friends of Hell. This is just a regular Friends of Hell.
Damn.
I need the picture disc. And then
Yeah,
here's Death Penalty is sort of the one.
yeah, it's kind of funny that they put out a picture disc like back at that time. It's weird.
I think heavy metal just would, kind of like these modern hardcore labels. They just
And a
run
lot of
them on every
colored
color.
vinyl too, right? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've got red transparent and I've got red opaque. It's stupid.
man.
But
I was
I mean,
finished. Yeah, I was sad last night because I pulled my Witchfinder General records out and yeah, back on black specials. But you know what?
oh,
The funny thing is though, Chris.
pains me, Mike.
The funny thing is though, Chris. Some of those like it's stupid, but like some of those go for more money than
Oh,
the
that's
originals.
ridiculous.
It's insane, right?
You can
Oh,
get this
yeah,
one
beautiful,
too.
beautiful.
I mean, all tracks, obviously, consummate peasant metal. They sound like the guys that are working the pens at the local stable. And just I mean, Death Penalty is like, the one. If you're gonna hear one,
Yeah,
it's got to be Death Penalty. It
yeah.
has basically all the hits. And it's someone from Saxon produced it, and I'm blanking on which guy it was, but Pete
Damn.
Hinton.
Oh wow, didn't
And
know that.
it has a great drum sound, like
It
a
does.
really good drum sound for
Yeah,
the time.
yeah. Classic.
Um,
Classic.
and Friends of Hell is no slouch either,
Mm.
but and maybe it's a little more doomy, whereas
Hmm.
Death Penalty is a little more fun. But the ultimate in peasant metal is none other than Pagan
Oh,
Altar. And I mean, just you want to talk about rustic sounding, spooky, you know, blacksmiths that might be worshiping the devil in their spare time. And I only pulled the stuff that has the original like early 80s stuff on it. So this is the Time Lord, and it has
I
the
don't have
two
that.
studio tracks,
Hmm.
Highway Cavalier and Time Lord, and then it has a few rehearsal cuts on the other side.
Mm.
Time Lord's a great song. This is a bootleg of what's called Judgment of the Dead or Volume 1, but this
Okay.
is so Pagan Altar was not very well liked at the time, as I understand it. I
Yeah.
wasn't there.
Right.
And they only had handed out a cassette of their first real recording sessions that they produced themselves. And somebody booted it to a 12-inch in the 90s. And that's the first time it showed up on vinyl. So
Wow.
that's actually, I have a couple different copies, but I think that's the coolest one because it's not remastered or anything. There's no deluxe booklet. It doesn't have the puffy jacket. It's just like the true rustic presentation with just very minimal info.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, that's, to me, that's my favorite in the whole doom metal genre. It's just beautiful and perfect. um it sounds like guys that just had dusty Jethro Tull records and Sabbath
Yeah.
records, but just went like one even gloomier. um and it's like sometimes lumped in with new wave of British heavy metal, but it's so mournful and so
Mm.
like soulful that
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel that it's like in its own world. It's very outsider, and I think outsiders tend to produce the best doom records for the
Right.
most part.
You know what I like, Chris, is that split single they did with Jex Thoth, who I think
Yep.
are a really good kind of modern day band. I really like that band,
Yeah.
Jex Thoth.
What's their song on that one? It's
Oh,
one of those like Picture of Dorian Gray or something?
it's really good though. Like it's it's yeah.
They've done a few modern albums, and the songwriting is impeccable. It's
Right.
just like unbelievably like well put together, but very simple and like flows well.
Mm.
Just uh, that artisanal flavor, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
You
It
know,
took me a while to
like
get into them, but I love them now. Amazing, amazing stuff.
some people don't like the vocals, but to me, I mean, especially on the earlier stuff, it's almost Ozzy-ish, but like
Yeah,
Ozzy if he had just never become famous. You know, he just was a humble bread baker
yeah,
in a small thatched roof village.
yeah, yeah. Well, he was at
Um,
one point. Yeah,
Right, pretty much. And I mean, you know, and that's not to disparage anybody. You know, I don't want to make it sound like I'm making fun of any of these bands. Like, Peasant Metal is a compliment of the highest order from me, and Pagan Altar Judgment of the Dead is my ultimate doom metal record.
very cool.
So there you have it.
All right, let's set sail for distant shores, far away from
Okay,
England. Finland, not too far, kind of near.
good. I know what
Well,
this one is.
Finland, who we're talking about,
Got to be the Reverend.
the Reverend. What a band! Like I don't know how to describe
Boy,
it,
oh boy.
man. It's like, you know, you've got these insane looking records. It's really true. You know, it's very straightforward. People might say it's boring.
The jacket's looking a little puffy. I'm not gonna lie.
Wow, yeah,
I'm just
it's a
fucking
little
kidding,
puffy.
man.
It's a little puffy.
No. But hey,
Uh,
some of those things didn't even come out on vinyl in the
right.
first run, and it wasn't until a
Yeah.
few years later. That is in the Rectory.
It is first album, I think. Yeah, these are all Spark pressings, you know.
Yeah,
But you know, Albert Witchfinder, you know, is the main man in this band.
quite a genius.
I mean, just these huge sprawling records, you know, like sometimes kind of tough to get through, but they you know, once you, I mean, they really set a world. They make their own world that, you know, it's like you can really get like sucked into this kind of like atmosphere that they put, you know, they make on these records. Very, very cool.
I think it's like, you know, a valid criticism that some of the records are too long,
Yeah,
but you know, they like purposely indulge in that, and you know,
yeah,
like to them, like everything must be maximum. You know,
absolutely.
I mean, the EPs that they do
Oh,
are
yeah,
45 minutes long.
no, they're 70, man. Double
I mean,
LP.
some of them are, yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
An EP.
Yeah,
That's Crush the Insects, right?
yeah, yeah. Look at that.
That's the one. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
they had, you know, like I don't even know. I was just sort of taking an interest in these kind of bands when those records were coming out, but that was like a real like shift from so many years of like, you know, stonerrock.com
Yes.
and
Yeah.
and
Man,
for
that's exactly what I was going to say. So, yeah.
I'm taking the words out of your mouth.
That,
But and Crush the Insects has Doom Over the World,
that's
and
just such an anthem. It's like,
it's a classic, man. And like that is a legitimate classic, maybe like the national anthem of Doom.
of Finland. It should be the national anthem of Finland.
It would definitely. I think it is probably.
It probably is. And then you've got this absolutely ridiculous, like, you know, the final, like, statement. Was it like quadruple LP in a
One of
pop?
the all-time best record titles ever. So long, suckers.
Oh, yeah. Amazing. And then, you know, I'll just show them, you know, the EP, 70 minutes long double LP, the EP,
Sure, of
you know,
course.
so cool, you know, and this makes me laugh, man. Have you seen the inside of this? It's like,
Oh yeah.
I mean, you know, fair play to
You know
them.
what? I like that they are kind of funny too.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I appreciate that.
And, like, actually, this is even better. It's like, it's like such a cool band. I mean, I love it. I mean, I can sometimes every now and again I'll just like keep an evening free, get these records out and just listen to them all the way through. And you get sucked into this kind of like really like their world, man. It's like they really do create like this their own world. It's amazing.
It had been a while since I'd listened to those, and when you said you kind of like previewed your picks with me, and I was like, oh, man, it's been a while, and I went back and I was like, you know, man, this stuff is like so cool. Just
it is. And I suppose while we're in Finland, we should talk about the Vicar, right?
oh man, the Lord.
You love this record, right?
The first Lord Vicar record, I think, is like one of the best of the last decade. And everything they do has been good, but I think maybe the first one just,
Songs, man.
sometimes that
Songs.
spark that starts a band is
Yeah.
exciting.
Songs. And then, man, talking about the puffy jacket, this is like an encyclopedia, man.
And it looks like a life preserver.
Yeah, this is the second record. It's good too. But, really important stuff. As you said, totally not stonerrock.com. It's dark. Yeah. Heavy
I
metal.
mean, I feel like the Reverend in particular was kind of like going back to that cathedral mood
I think
of
so.
the first couple records, like Ethereal Mirror kind of, but then like even just like blowing it up more, just like pumping it full of steroids, because the Ethereal Mirror is like, it's a single LP, I think.
Yeah.
But I mean, those Reverend Bizarre records right off the bat, they're just so huge and so epic.
They are. And there's a lot of experimentation and stuff, and it wanders off a little bit. But I can do it, man. I mean, I'm a guy with a pretty short attention span. I can sit down and listen to those 3 hour long records.
Wherever you fall on like the drum solos and stuff, when they do songs, they're awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Really important band. Like this is like 2002, 2005, 2007. So
Yeah.
yeah. All right, man. What you got next for us?
As long as we're sailing the seven seas,
Yeah, man.
let's make a stop in Italy.
Oh, yes.
Let's see, do I have them all here? So, I mean, there's not tons but the Italian doom is the weirdest doom, and like I said before, I like the weirder it is, the more interesting it is. So I've got, this is actually on the player right now, so the jacket is empty, but there's a Black Hole, Land of Mystery, and I mean, you want to talk about bizarre music, man. This is just, I don't know. It sounds like if Goblin had made a heavy metal record or something, and it's just the right amount of ineptitude and ability combining to make. I mean, it sounds like the soundtrack to an Italian horror movie, but played as a rock record. And I don't really know why this isn't on Minotauro Records, because that's the label that I associate with most of this stuff. So I don't know if these guys were from like a rival village in Italy that was not as well liked or what, but I mean, just even looking at the artwork, like it's so outsider, but it's like, it's beautiful. Look at that.
It is beautiful.
And that skull is iconic. There's no other record that sounds like this. I mean, I was playing it, getting in the mood for this talk.
Yeah.
And of course, I mean, sort of the first Italian doom band is Death SS, and I got the 45 here too. So they recorded all these like demos and rehearsals in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s. Were kind of like gigging around and had this crazy like Alice Cooper style stage show. Didn't even release anything with their first singer, Steve Sylvester, until, well, posthumously. And then he eventually kind of revived the name Misfit Style with like a whole new band. But the original band was basically built around Steve Sylvester and Paul Chain.
Right.
And when Steve Sylvester left, they got this guy, Sanctus Gorham, who some people prefer as the vocalist of Death SS, but they're both weirdos. They're both spooky. I've never seen a picture of Sanctus with a shirt on.
There he is.
Never ever. There he is. And I look, he's like 40 on this record. So
old.
I mean, it's odd. It's really weird, like somewhere after Sanctus joined the band sort of just became the Paul Chain band. And Paul Chain, their guitar player, released, I mean, he's still releasing stuff, but he released a couple of really classy and weird heavy doom records. This is his first EP, which is, you know, like 35 minutes long. It's the Detaching from Satan EP. That's great. It starts with like bizarre 2 minutes of droning, like, I don't know,
Yeah.
organ sounds. It just sets the stage for something like really unusual. Again, it has that like Italian horror movie kind of feel
Right.
to it. But I think my favorite Paul Chain record, you know, this is Paul Chain and Violet Theater,
Right.
which was kind of like his backing band, I guess, but like he's got different people on a lot of these different
Mm.
songs, and he
Oh
took these
man.
like awesome crew photos, man.
Oh man.
And there's always like 10 people in them. They're all like decked out. They're in like weird like priest clothing, and they're wearing crosses, and Sanctus is shirtless and holding a sword. This was sort of, he said that he had like detached from, at first record's called Detaching from Satan.
Yeah.
And he had, I don't know if it's like esoteric mystic Christianity or what, but it's some weird hybrid of like occultism and, you know, Roman Catholic belief. And so it's not satanic, but like I certainly wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't call this white metal or anything like
Right.
that. I think this is the best Italian doom record because you get sort of all the different flavors of Paul Chain, who I think is, at the end of the day, he's the guy
Right.
for all the bands there. You know, he's awesome. He sings really weird. A lot of times he's not singing real words. That's part of the gimmick. He
Right.
just phonetically speaks. But I don't know. You can't really tell most of the time. On this record, you get some songs that are led by him. You get a really good, probably his best experimental electronic song called War, which just sounds, to me, it just sounds like new age music.
Right.
But it's still very spooky and has a lot of mood to it. And then you get a couple songs with Sanctus and Claude Galley, who are ex Death SS. So it's almost like you're getting a Death SS reunion on the B side of this. Kind of almost like an Alice Cooper vibe on this, but also with Sabbath and Pink Floyd, and like again with like there's stuff that just reminds me of like Goblin.
Right.
It's really, really, really good stuff. And you know, there's nowhere else in the world where is there a record like this coming out in 1985, 86.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think in the 80s there was a record like In the Darkness made by anybody except Paul Chain.
Yeah.
And the riffs are good. The riffs are heavy. The best song to me is Crazy, which is almost just sounds like almost like trying to do an Aussie kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. Absolutely recommended.
Yeah, man. I think I kind of not lucked out. But I mean, Death SS discography is kind of big, right? They have a whole ton of albums.
I think they're genuinely very popular in Italy
Right.
and nowhere else.
Yeah, yeah. I've got this thing I want to show you. It's kind of, you might be interested in. I don't know. It's just like horror soundtrack thing. It's on Black Widow Records from Italy. And it's
What's
got
on
Death
it?
SS on it. Like the first
That
track,
makes
it's
sense.
an intro by Eugenio Mucci, and then it's got Death SS, Ave Santani, and it's got North Winds. I think every band's Italian. Got the Black, Wounded Knee, North Winds, Sun. I mean, all these bands. I don't know.
The
So
Black did a Minotauro record too. Oh,
yeah.
and that's wait, and that picture on the back is from the movie The Beyond.
Okay. Well, I've got a little. I'm going to show you some things and put you on the spot a little bit. So
Okay,
all the
let's see what happens.
it's a triple album, and every side of the inner sleeve has a picture from a horror movie. So
All right. All right. That
I didn't know the answer, so you could say anything. It's Christopher Lee, right?
wasn't
No googling.
No. You froze.
I did. I thought. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I took a picture of you
Okay.
because I.
Okay. And okay. So and then on the other
So
side.
that way, is that Christopher Lee on the
Yeah, it's Christopher Lee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that must be one of the Dracula films
Yeah. And then that's
for Hammer. It might be Taste the Blood of Dracula. I'm not sure. This picture. Ooh, you got me. I don't know who she is.
okay. Comments. Movie fans.
Yeah. Someone let us know. Dave
Yeah.
Dvorak.
Okay. I've got a few more. Yeah. About this one.
Oh man, it's on the tip of my
All
tongue.
right. Sit your tongue out.
Is that Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde?
Could be.
Oh man.
All right.
I don't know.
All right.
All right. What else do we have? Black Sabbath, maybe?
Could be.
Pretty bad, actually. I'm doing terrible. Dude, I'm blanking.
All right. I'll give you an easy one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I've seen it.
There you go. Yeah, pretty cool compilation. Lots of experimental music. It's all Italian bands doing like horror movie soundtracks, I think so.
It's in their blood there.
Yeah. All right. It's my turn, right?
Yeah, go.
All right. I'm going to finish off with a trio of tasty American platters. First one, Witchcross.
All right.
Chicago.
This is one I didn't know really before.
Yeah, I mean, I just picked this up. It was in a store here. I didn't know anything about the band. It looked cool. I mean, the picture on the back looks cool. It was recorded in like the early 90s. You've got like cross here and everything. So you won't believe this, but like the vocalist, Count William, he ended up commenting on YouTube somewhere. And I've got a little quote from him because it's kind of cool. It kind of sums up everything about this band. They're Chicago, like early 90s. And Count William, he's watching this, I know. So
the Count.
He says, I guess you could say I live in the past. Like St. Vitus said, I was born too late. So immediately, this is a cool band, right? So
respect.
Right, there you go. I started listening to metal at 8 years old. Kiss, Sabbath, Ozzy, Judas Priest, King Diamond, Merciful Fate, Motley Crue, Twisted Sister, Slayer, Celtic Frost, Seraphungal, and Witchfinder General. Wow. And I started
all the greats,
right? And then I started my first band when I was 14, and I sang for Nocturnal Doom, Witchcross, Shadow Lord, and Ravensthorn. So pretty cool, Chicago, very kind of traditional doom with occult kind of lyrics and stuff. So great band. It is on I Hate Records from Sweden. But,
was it unissued originally?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's different recording. Okay, so yeah, 6 tracks were recorded in 1998, 93. Can't read it. And then 1 track was recorded in 1998, but in Chicago. Yeah, but very cool band.
Cool stuff.
Thanks,
shout out to the Count.
Thanks, William. I know you're watching. Cheers, mate. This is a great record. They've got a bunch of other records too. This is the only one I have. But
I gotta get that. I gotta find a distro that has that.
No stoner, like just proper doom metal. Great, lovely stuff. Witchcross, Chicago. There you go.
Should I? You know what I wanted to do, because that's kind of a sleeper pick, right?
Yeah, I guess so. You could say that. Yeah.
This is my sleeper pick.
All right.
The Britain Rights record.
Yeah, I've heard you and seen you talking about that record.
All right. Now that I've embarrassed myself with all the movie shit, this record. So this is Howie Bentley from Cauldron Born, which is like a long-running American sort of epic metal band. But this is more in the vein of like Cathedral, like second, third LP stuff. Also with like just some early Pentagram in there, some Trouble, some Vitus, like all the big ones. And it's Phil Swanson singing from Hour of 13 and Summerlin's.
Oh, wow.
And so, but it's real all out. It's called Britain Rights, and I think that they feel that there's a Witchfinder General flavor to it, but it's heavier than that. But it's great. And most of the songs are based on different Hammer horror features.
Wow.
including Vampire Hunter 1600, which is my favorite song on here, based on my favorite Hammer movie, Captain Kronos Vampire Hunter, which is not a very popular one. And so I just immediately took this album to heart, because I was like, anybody that can write a 10-minute ode to that movie, God bless them. This is, I mean, I don't think they've ever played live, as same with a lot of Phil's bands.
Right.
But this is just one of the best of the last 10 years, in my opinion. They are all American, despite the name. But I mean, this just rocks. It's just like absolute meat and potatoes, like some of the best awesome guitar solos from Howie Bentley.
Cool.
Some of the best Phil Swanson vocals. You know, they're American, so they can't truly be peasant metal, but I feel that they, in their hearts of hearts, are. And there's a lot of, I mean, this thing's like 7 songs, and then it looks like it's on one of those, it's on High Roller. They've tacked on some demo tracks to fill out the last side of the LP.
That label's, I like that label. They put out some stuff that, yeah, good label.
Anyway, not a lot of people really seem to know about that record, but
so check it out.
I play it all the time. Every time, as soon as the leaves start turning brown, that one comes out.
Nice, man. Talking of leaves turning brown, actually, this tree has no leaves on it.
Ooh. Maybe it's because it's in Texas, where it's very hot.
Arlington, Texas. You probably know more about this band than I do. I'm pretty ignorant about this band, but I do know that this is kind of a late career entry from this band. And I feel like, in terms of like quality, it's kind of on the same level as a late career entry as Cathedral. It's like a real classic, like late in the career. I love this record, man. It's like, and
what's the title of that one? Because
it's called Alone. It's Alone.
Yeah.
It's like Robert Lowe on vocals, who sang for Candlemass on 1 or 2 records too, right?
Yeah, there is a crossover there. When I think of Solitude Aeturnus, to me, they're the American Candlemass.
Yeah, and then John Perez is the kind of the main guy too, the guitarist. And I want to ask you a kind of technical question. Like, I don't even know how to pronounce this, but the Pargiant Dominant. It's like the Egyptian, it's all through this record. Like, it's got that kind of weird, dark, like mystical, like Egyptian, like style, like.
Yeah, so that's like some kind of music theory term, and it describes that. Yeah, a lot of people say like Egyptian music, and again, I think like that's a Candlemass thing too. That like weird sort of like, like that Eastern influence that creeps into the music.
But yeah, this is from like 2006. Again, not fashionable. It's like just dark. Eastern.
But like true lifers, you know, like they're still. I'm pretty sure they're still active, unless something's happened, you know, fairly recently. Yeah, these guys. I mean, you know, they could be watching right now, laughing at my ignorance of.
I mean, I know nothing about this band. You know, I'm not familiar with too many of the early records. This is the only record that I own by them. I love it, man. And it's also, don't crucify me, everybody, but I love this. It's got that tiny touch of kind of Alice in Chains darkness about it, which
you get no argument from me,
right? Which I like, you know, So that's a kind of bonus for me, you know, like so. And in the vocals and some of the melodies have that very dark Alice in Chains dirt feel to them. Yeah,
I think they're a band that has just been really happy doing what they're doing for a long time, and sort of never strayed from their own path.
Right.
You should check out those early records.
I will.
Because, I mean, like I said, the American Candlemass, and that's, you know, a compliment of the highest order from me.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah, just crushing stuff.
Yeah. Do you have any more, Chris? I've got one more to finish off with, but if you've got anything else, go ahead.
Well, my final sort of subcategory is what I call the big three of the United States.
Oh, okay.
To be in the big three, you have to have put out your first album in 1984. So unfortunately, The Obsessed does not make the big three, but I have to give a shout out because The Obsessed are cool. This album rocks.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard it. Tombstone Highway.
Yeah, man.
Red Disaster, just awesome stuff. So the big three of American Doom. Pentagram, first LP from 1984. And here's the follow-up.
Yeah.
But to me, the first... So I've gone through different phases with Pentagram, and at one point I liked the 70s material more, but like I've been saying, I think the weirder the better for a lot of this stuff. And this album is... The first Pentagram album is bizarre. It's the production is bizarre. The riffing, there's no record that sounds like this in 1984. This is it. Bobby Liebling, you know, he's a son of a bitch, but he can sing. And Victor Griffin just like basically like inventing a new style of like how to play guitar.
He's an important figure in all this, right, Victor?
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Absolutely. And this is like, you know what? I think even the sort of like the two-man Pentagram albums are good.
Oh, I love them. Yeah.
I think they've never really done anything to be embarrassed of.
No.
But this is just something special. You know,
right.
This is, and you know, very thin jacket.
I can see it's thin. I can see right through it.
True mark of quality. All right. The next of the big three of American doom metal. Trouble.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Oh.
Now, let's see. Psalm 9, also released in 1984, another American doom metal record. This is the most conventional.
Yeah, I have the same pressing.
I got the nice white copy.
Exactly the same. Yeah.
Beautiful stuff, right?
It is, man.
I think, by the way, fucking ballsy to come out and be a Christian band on the same label as Slayer in 1984.
Yeah.
I'm not going to win a lot of people over that way, but big respect. Psalm 9 is you know, one of their most popular albums. Well, it's technically self-titled, but everyone calls it Psalm 9.
Don't they? Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know till later. I probably didn't know till I got the actual LP. You know, it's definitely Judas Priest 70s influence, Stained Class, Sin After Sin. But there's something extra there. There's something a little bit darker. And even though they're singing about, I think actually like the Judeo-Christian themes are a big part of doom metal. Even when bands aren't singing about it, it's almost like implied. You know, all these guys wearing crosses and looking like priests and monks. You know, and so like I almost think it's weird when there's doom metal bands singing about like Satan. I mean, you know, it works. I get it, but like I feel like the Catholic guilt is something
not the same tree. It's kind of like I wonder if they were kind of I wonder if they were kind of
related to that tree.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Maybe the same kind of tree.
Same kind of tree.
The follow-up album is The Skull, and I think this one's underrated. There's a boring-looking test pressing label from Music Connection. This actually has some of my favorite Trouble songs, though. Fear No Evil, Pray for the Dead. Like, that's just such a 1-2 punch. That's total doom. They got, after that was Run to the Light. It's cool. A little different.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, it's really good. Yeah. But it's just in between a bunch of albums that are all better.
I'm waiting for my favorite. I think my favorite's probably coming next.
It's coming. I'm wearing the shirt of it, dude. There it is.
That is just a classic, whatever way.
And look, it got 5 Ks from Kerrang.
There you go.
It didn't sell shit. It's on Deaf American, that like really brief, cool run of Deaf American where they had Trouble, Danzig, Masters of Reality, I think.
I found that for 300 yen.
Someone gave it to me for free.
Oh, there you go.
right?
You've got
But
revenge on me for my movie quiz. There you go.
that one, so that album is a little more stoner, I guess you
It
could
is.
say.
It is.
It's a little
But,
bit faster, but but it's also just like it's just heavy hard rock, and
uh,
it's great, man.
it's just one great song after another. It's just like classic after
I mean, one of the best heavy metal albums of the '90s. I know it's from 1990, but
right.
just incredible stuff.
It's a classic. It's a classic. Yeah.
So obviously, oh shit, dude, they're all like falling down. Ah, man. All right.
All right. I'm gonna. Oh, one St. Vitus. Christ, yeah. How could we forget?
Yeah. This is the last.
Yeah,
piece
the
of
big three, right? The big three. Yeah.
And I got them all, Mike.
Got them all. I think I have them all. Probably not first pressings. I've got that. Yeah. I don't have that.
That's Mournful Cries test press.
Right.
Mournful Cries V. I like this live record.
I've not heard that one.
It's with Wino, but they do some early stuff too.
That one has the Swedish guy from Count Raven,
yeah,
Christian.
Count Raven and Lord Vicar.
Yes, yeah.
The Lord.
People hate his vocals on that first.
I don't know why the fuck they hate it.
No, on that record they like it, but on that Count Raven record, Storm Warning.
Yeah, I almost. You know what? I forgot to grab that. But...
I did it. I had it included in the beginning, but I didn't in the end. But yeah.
I mean, yeah, and then let's see. This one came out last year. This is the one from like 10 years ago.
Right.
Die Healing. This is the first time they got back with Scott Regers. This album is great, and it's probably their most Doom record. But for me, always the number one, Hallows Victim.
I'll agree with you on that.
And ultimately, this is my pick for the big three of American Doom, Hallows Victim. Just a perfect album.
Yeah.
Scott Regers is the perfect Doom vocalist. He has, like, he can sing, but he growls sometimes. He has a ton of attitude in his delivery. Again, a lot of like sort of like Judeo-Christian kind of themes with like White Stallions and Prayer for the Masses or Prayer for the Asses. But it's a great album, and it's a little more diverse. They do the slow doomy stuff, but they open it up with a couple of faster songs.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just, again, it's the outsider flavor that makes it more special to me, because Dave Chandler is a very unconventional guitar player.
Right.
And these guys were clearly, just kind of an island unto themselves in
I always wonder what people, because they're on SST and everything, right? I always wonder what people, what the punks or whatever, thought of that band back in the day. It's quite
I've heard they got a lot of hate, but I've also seen metal fanzines at the time that gave them really good reviews.
Right. Okay.
So, I don't think they were the most beloved band at the time, but certainly, they've had a lot more staying power than most bands from them.
Right. Yeah. All right. I'm going to finish off by paying respects to a fallen hero, Alfred Morris III.
Oh,
died.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, he died a couple of years ago at age 60. There he is. I mean, we're talking about Iron Man. I mean, it's like Maryland, Doom, Pentagram, Spirit Caravan. I mean, this is very obviously, they started off as a Black Sabbath cover band, originally. But his guitar tone is like total, like, Masters of Reality, like Tony Iommi. It's just got this huge groove. Every record's got this huge groove to it. And I don't know.
You know what?
Really
I heard an interview with him.
You did?
I don't know if well, no, I heard one with him.
Okay.
And he said that the reason that his guitar sounded that way was because when he first heard Black Sabbath, he didn't realize that there was a guitar player and a bass player. And he thought that he was just trying to mimic the full sound of the guitar and bass together, not realizing it was two instruments.
Right.
And then that just became his sound.
I think this band suffered a little bit. They never really got like a really great permanent vocalist. They suffered a little bit because of that. And but what a guy. I mean, he's been
I'm gonna challenge you. Their
okay.
last album on
Yes,
Rise Above,
yes,
great singer.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah,
saw them with that lineup, and they were awesome.
yeah, yeah.
And Al was actually, unfortunately, not in great health and had to play
Okay,
sitting down. I think it might have even been their last show, but
that's a killer record. I was going to show it, but I just thought
yeah, South of the Earth is the name of
yes,
that one. And that
yeah, yeah,
record is like, well, actually, I think that's one of the best records of the last 10 years, period.
yeah. It's amazing.
Just
Yeah,
really good.
but if people out there who might not like the more plodding, like slow, you want something a little bit more up tempo with a big groove to it. This is the band for you. I mean, amazing. Just great.
They're a really cool band, man.
Yeah.
I mean, because again, just like Total Island,
But he was
they didn't.
yeah. He was doing this like before Iron Man. He had a band called Force. They
Yep,
put a record out too, and they had
it's a hard record to get.
yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I forgot the date on this. This is like well,
Maybe
86,
91, 92.
86 they started out. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, they were. I think they were just grinding it in clubs for a while, man.
right. But amazing songs, huge. I mean, this is like the most Black Sabbath influenced record that I picked today, for sure.
Definitely.
Very important band and a very important man, Alfred Morris. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. Wow, that was amazing. I've saw a lot of records that I've not seen for a while, especially those like Penance and Revelation.
That was epicus, you might say.
It was.
I wouldn't say
How
that.
long. Let's just see how epic it was. Oh, an hour. There you go. Perfect.
Jesus.
1 hour of doom.
All right. Okay. Like 1/4 of a Reverend Bizarre album.
Yeah. We didn't even make it through like one EP of Reverend Bizarre. There you go. There you go. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in as always. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure to talk
It was
to you, sir.
great fun as always. So until next time, stay healthy and stay clean.